First of all, 80 Flatbush as proposed is my topic. A lot of people in the room here are part of the opposition. First of all, we view the EIS process as flawed. We believe it puts the city planning office in a position of being the respondent, not the driver. Steve, you mentioned gentrification, rising rents, that's in affordable housing, rising commercial rents, no protection for small business, reduced quality of life, which doesn't get examined fully in the EIS because it can be responded to with, I'm sorry, we can't mitigate those effects. In the last couple of weeks, the comptroller put out a statement about the loss of city revenue due to subway delays. We have 7,500 units of housing coming online before 80 Flatbush gets developed with its 900 units. So there are actually two questions here for both of you. 80 Flatbush as proposed, good idea, bad idea? And also the bigger question is, how can a better balance be established to preserve our neighborhoods, and this is not just my neighborhood's question, while we push for growth in New York City? So good idea, bad idea, and how do we balance our need for growth, what I'll call super gentrification, and still protect the neighborhoods that exist?
You want to go first?
Sure. So I haven't come to a conclusion just yet on 80 Flatbush. I think that there's problematic elements to it for sure. I think with any application, an application is rarely entirely great or entirely bad. Every once in a while, I think that there was just a project that came through the Community Board and Council, and the ICL project, I think, was the only time I've ever seen a unanimous vote on anything, right? And that was a unanimous vote to approve. So 80 Flatbush has problematic elements. First off, FAR 18, that is much greater than any other surrounding FAR. When you take a step back from it, the challenge with that particular site is that it's really three different neighborhoods converging on one half of a block. It is Borum Hill coming from the south and across the street on State Street. It is downtown Brooklyn coming from the north and the west, and it's Fort Greene coming from the east. And so while there are brownstones across the street on State Street, right across the street, 50, 60 feet away. But on the other side of Skimmerhorn Street, you have an equivalent of an R10, I believe, that is directly across the street. And so all of these things are converging. At the same time, you have a school there right now in a building that is not an appropriate building for a high school. And it wasn't an appropriate building for a high school 6 years ago or 7 years ago when I first set foot in there, or 8 years ago when it was the Metropolitan Corporate Academy. And it's not an appropriate building now because it's a 125-year-old building. And so the longer that we have children in that building, we're doing a disservice to them. So I agree, Howard, that 2 minutes is not enough to talk about this. But as proposed, I don't think it's acceptable right now as proposed, for sure. But this is something that we have to have a community discussion about.
Right. Well, 80 Flatbush actually is within the limits of Borum Hill. It borders two other areas, downtown Brooklyn and Brooklyn Heights. But at the same time, 80 Flatbush is going to be two skyscrapers. They go way above the far limit. Khalil Gibran International Academy isn't actually going to be relocated. They're going to have to sit through that construction above their heads of a skyscraper for about 8 or 10 years, which is completely unacceptable. And on top of that, the conditions within the school were not so bad. It was not failing, it was not falling apart. And I believe that the actual baiting of schools to fall apart, or their conditions having been so bad, to allow a developer to be the only one to come in and save the day is the wrong way to go about selling our public assets.